All right, so I'm back so we can do our full lesson or our new thing. It's really simple because it's just reviewing mixed numbers, but in a little bit of a different way. So you are at your friend's house, or you have your friend over. Let's do it that way. You have your friend over, and you notice that you go to the cabinet. There's 3 cookies for you and your friend to be able to share. What are you going to do to make sure that you and your friend can have the same amount of cookies? Because how rude. I'm not coming over your house if you go, it's my house, so I get 2 and you get 1. Sorry. It's just what happens. No, ew, that's really not nice. So we don't want that. That would not be very kind, and your friend is not going to want to be your friend or come over your house or be around you because you didn't share. And you think, what if that happened to you? You wouldn't want your friend to do that to you. So how could you take those 3 cookies and make it so that you both can have enough to eat? That's right. I heard some of you, you would take that 3rd cookie, you would say, okay, 1 for me, 1 for you, and then, oh, if I break this 3rd cookie neatly in half so that we both get the same amount, then we can both have the same amount, and that would be 1 1/2. So 1/2 of 3, okay, is going to be, or excuse me, yeah, 1/2 of 3 is going to be 1 1/2. So you're taking those cookies and you're breaking them one into halves, and then each of you gets 1 separate. So that's what we're talking about. We're going to take our parts of our whole, which we've been doing, 1/2 of 10, 1/3 of 33, 1/7 of 56. We've been taking those numbers and we know, okay, 8, 3, 12, we know how to break them up. But now we're going to make them uneven, which is what happened yesterday on your page. Some of you caught it. Because it had, and I have it at the bottom of the thing here, it had 1/8 of 45, and some of you just put a question mark, or you left it blank, or some of you did figure out what it was probably trying to ask you, but we haven't had that yet. So good for you, your eye catching that. You can't really have 1/8 of 45. So I think what happened is that they got a little ahead of themselves, and what was supposed to be kind of on today's page became yesterday's. So 1/8 of 45, we would get as close to 45 as we can by counting by eighths, because remember, it's taking that whole number, dividing it by our denominator. So we would do 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. Oh, that's too big, so we would have to go with 40, which means it would be 5. And then what's left over? How far is 40 from 45? It's 5 away. And then we would use our denominator as our denominator. I know you can't see it. I'll show it closer afterwards. But the answer would be 5 5/8. Now, somebody did write 5, remainder 5 yesterday, which was good because that's exactly what it would have been. But what we're doing today is we're taking these numbers and we're writing them, the part of our whole, we're writing it as a mixed number instead of just a regular whole number, because we're going to add a little bit with that. It's not an equal number to go into. So like the first one is 1/2 of 15. Okay, you can't cut 15 in half equally so that everybody gets the same amount. So what do I have to do? Well, it's the same thing that we've been doing. We take our 15 divided by 2 and we see what we get. We get as close to 15 as we can without going over 15. So what would that be? Very good. I heard some of you would obviously be 7. 7 times 2 equals 14. Well, how far away is 14 from 15? It's 1. That 1 becomes my remainder, or my numerator, excuse me, and then you just keep the denominator the same. That 2 becomes the denominator. So 1/2 of 15 would be 7 1/2. So if I'm sharing 15 candy bars with somebody, that's not a good idea. I'm going to get 7 1/2, and they're going to get 7 1/2. So that's what we're doing when we are finding the mixed numbers of our part of our whole, okay? So it would just be like what we did with dividing. We would do 15 divided by 2 equals 7. And then when we did 7 times 2 equals 14, 15 minus 14 is 1. That 1 becomes the numerator, remainder becomes the numerator. What we divided by becomes our denominator, the 2 becomes our denominator. Make sense? Okay. Just play it over again a few times if it doesn't, so you'll get that. But 1/4 of 25. So again, we are dividing 25 divided by 4. Well, we don't get an even number because there's no 25 in our 4 multiplication or division table. So we get as close to 25 as we can get, which would be with 6, very good, because 6 times 4 equals 24. That's not going over the 25. Then we have to subtract 25 minus 24, 1, and then our denominator stays the same. It's 4, because that's what we're figuring out, how many fourths it is, okay? So 6 and 1/4. Oh, and this is the other thing. So I've been trying to remind you guys, remember, make your whole number as the bigger than your fraction. Some of you are doing this kind of a thing, and it ends up making the number look like 61/4 rather than 6 and 1/4. So make your whole number as big as your fractional part on the side of it, if that makes sense. Then 1/2 of 13. Again, you can't split 13 in half. So I get as close to 13 as I can get, 6. And then I have to figure out, well, 6 times 2 is what? 12. And I have what left over from after 13, taking that away. Right, I have 1 left over. And then my 2 stays at the bottom. So 1/2 of 13 would be 6 and 1/2. So think of it as a division problem. 13 divided by 2 would equal 6 and 1/2. Okay, that's all that you are doing. Then down to our last one, 1/3 of 23. Get as close to 23 as you can, counting by 3s, but not going over it. That's why I said it's just like your division almost. So we know that that would be 7 is as close as we can get, because 7 times 3 is 21. If we subtract 23 minus 21, what do I have left? I have 2, right? And that 2 becomes my numerator. What is my denominator going to be? Yes, it stays the same. It doesn't change. The 3 comes underneath. So my answer would be 7 and 2/3. Okay, so I hope that you see that and that makes sense as you are looking at those. And there's the one at the bottom. I know it's really small, but that was the 1/8 of 45 from yesterday, where it's 5 and 5/8 would have been the right answer. But good job for catching that, like I said. So that's what you are going to be working on your pages today. You can look at the top of the page. The box says more mixed numbers. When you find the fractional part of a whole number, the answer is sometimes a mixed number. Divide the whole number by the denominator, which we've been doing the whole time, of the fraction. Write the remainder as a fraction with the same denominator. So it shows you 1/5 of 33. So it's just like saying 33 divided by 5. And then they came up with, the answer would be 6. And then when you subtract 33 minus 30, that's going to be your remainder. 3 is going to be your numerator. And then you have to keep the 5 the same. That's your denominator. So that's what you're doing for section 1. Now, in my book, section or letter F is not correct. It's 1/7 of 50, which is fine. But I think underneath that, I'm not sure if they fixed it in this or not, because I'm not there to see the books with you. But it looks, in my book, it has 62 divided by 7 instead of 50 divided by 7. So if it has the 62, just cross out the 62, or right next to it, write 50 divided by 7, because that's what it's supposed to be. It's taking those numbers and showing you how you can divide them to get your mixed number. So if you have questions, just have your parents message me and let me know, but that's what it's looking for. All right, so then our story problems. Sophia checked out a book with 36 pages. On Saturday, she read 1/4 of the book. How many pages did she read? So the first thing you're going to write at the top of your workspace is 1/4 of what? Write the 36 pages, 1/4 of 36. And then once you figure out what 1/4 of 36 is, I know, don't tell each other, don't, because I know you guys can hear each other. Once you figure out 1/4 of 36, write that down. That's your first answer. Then it asks how many pages are left. So if how many pages are left, what does that left tell us we need to do? We have to subtract. So you're going to subtract your 36 minus whatever number that you had, that you figured out. And then you'll get the number of pages left. Okay? Hopefully that got that. Then letter B, Mr. Lee has 15 feet of oak boards and 16 yards of pine boards. How many feet of woods does he have? Of wood does he have, not woods. How many feet of wood does he have? So you look at that and you're like, oh, 15 plus 16. No, no, no. Why not? Because you can't add feet and yards together. They're two different measures. So what do we do with this? Oh, I heard some of you. Yes, 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 yes. Bumps. You have to do a measurement problem. 15 feet plus 16 yards equals, what are you trying to find out? Blank feet. Very good. So 15 feet plus 16 yards equals blank feet. Then work it out just like we did that problem that I reviewed for you earlier. On the back, you've got your divide and check. Work carefully. You all know how to divide, every single one of you. So either make the marks and circle the groups, or do it. Just do it. You know how to do it. Then you have your solving for n again. Work those carefully. You know how to do those. I just showed you that on the board as well. Do your temperatures. We haven't had a chance to review those, but remember, your temperature, those lines go up by 2s. So if it's in the middle, then you just go up by 1. So think carefully. If we have trouble with that today, I'll do a video about that tomorrow. Then you're rounding to the nearest dollar. You're reducing to the lowest terms. Most of you did get the days yesterday, the month of June, the 15 days in the month of June. Good job. And then do your brain booster. I'll see who's really thinking. I think this was an easy one though, so you should be fine with that. And then do your homework section, because you need to do your homework section because it's there. So you can do it now or you can do it for homework. It's up to you, but make sure to do it. So that's your page, and I hope that you're going to work really hard on it and make me proud, and then have your parents send it to me so I can check it. I was able to check a bunch last night of those that sent me their pages. So parents, if you can send them, well, please send them digitally, so that way I can just be checking them. Some I haven't gotten, so I'm not able to help talk the students through it. But if you start sending them digitally now, that would be excellent, because that would just help me to be able to kind of give feedback right away to them. So that's the best way of being able to, because we're not going to do the exchanging anymore. It's all going to be done through Google Classroom. So if you are struggling with that and not sure how to do it, connect with other parents, because a bunch of other parents are doing that and they've figured it out somehow. So please try to get that in so that I can see those and get the feedback. So have a great rest of your time finishing arithmetic, because I'm not done. I'll come back for more in a little bit. All right, see you later.